Hi everyone. So here is Moonlight Soul and my good friend Adrienne Gibson, currently from Mexico. And we're going
I'm
to be
here.
talking about full moon in Leo.
Full moon in Leo.
Right,
And
the first full moon.
we've been having a little bit of internet issues, so hopefully it won't be too
Yeah, bear with us.
distractive. Yeah,
Well, Pluto is in Aquarius, so hopefully it will hold the line for us.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Well, this is the first full moon of 2024, the year 8, and it represents strength, and strength represents Leo, and it is in Leo, and it's on 5 degrees, which astrologically is the house associated with Leo. So I think we have all the synchronicities going on here.
Yeah, so definitely interesting times. Interesting times for sure. I don't know how everybody's feeling, but it definitely feels unusual in my body. So unusual that I can't even really tell you what it feels like. It just feels different.
I felt like that last weekend, just when Pluto moved into Aquarius, I felt like I was recalibrating. Like my body was like, what is this? I need to get used to this.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't really put my finger on what it feels like, but definitely different. From one day to the next, it shifted.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and now Venus is in Capricorn as well, the ruler of the South Node. So there is more coming up with that because we have this Capricornian theme going on through this year.
yeah, we sure do. We sure do. And I guess during last week, maybe just after, maybe it was just as Pluto was moving into Aquarius, Venus was sitting on the galactic center, playing catch up and getting that final download before it's moved now into Capricorn. So that's really interesting.
Right. Yeah,
Uh,
she was getting the info so she could redefine the reality based on the South
yeah,
Node. The South, well, be redefining the South Node reality and taking it into North Node.
yeah, yeah. So it's definitely interesting energy. Definitely interesting times. Shall I pull up the chart?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, I was just thinking that, like, this is like a quiet before fireworks because the beginning of the week has been so quiet, and then everything is gonna get loose with the full moon and everything, all the aspects becoming exact over the weekend. So I feel that the end of the week will be very different
Right.
from how we started it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right, I'm gonna pull it up. There we go. I put in Puerto Vallarta instead of Tennessee.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's local like us.
Yeah. Visually, to me, it kind of looks a little, I don't know. Visually, if I draw myself out, it looks a little like a scorpion, like with a tail.
Right. And it's interesting that it's got the Taurus rising. And we were just saying that all this, we need to learn to trust ourselves and our resiliency and our resources. So I mean, obviously, I believe it's going to be different from different locations, but I just find it interesting. And with the Jupiter
Yes.
being there on the ascendant almost. So cool.
Yeah.
Where would you want to start, Adrienne?
Well, we could just start with Pluto and the Sun conjunct in Aquarius. Um, I think that's like the biggest shift change that's happened since the 20th. I think it was like 8 p.m. at least Mexico time. That the shift happened 8:30 or something. And yeah, this is a big confrontation about our ability to individuate and to shine the light on that and to begin to um, embody, I think, like our individuality, to break You know, because Aquarius for me is this energy of breaking outside of what has been defined as normal,
Mhm.
and to begin the energy of you know, beginning to vibrate within our true selves. And so the sun is reflecting that, and Pluto is coming along and breaking free that energy where we haven't been doing that, right along with the sun right now. So I see that as the beginning of this move forward.
Yeah, and it's obviously since the sun and Pluto had a conjunction, now Pluto is behind the sun, so it made it like the closing phase, which of course we are in this year closing. Pluto still in Capricorn. He has one more retrograde into Capricorn from September till November, but it is the final time. So there are definitely a lot of energies that are culminating, as we know, as we've been talking about, and it's calibrating us for this Aquarian energy. And now we are coming towards February already next week. Who can believe that? You know, it's like coming so early. And all the personal planets will have conjunction with Pluto in Aquarius, Mercury, then Mars, and Venus. So we can see
Yep.
how all these cycles are ending. They are all ending because they're preparing us for this uncharted territory, this Aquarian energy, which we haven't discovered before. And yeah, it definitely needs some preparation.
Yeah, that is for sure. Um, yeah, so with the moon in its opposition, the moon is asking us to become comfortable in what it is that is true for us. This place where, you know, we feel joy. I've been thinking about it like trying to recall what it felt like when I was a child, just
Mhm.
like happy and interested in things, and really nothing was defined. You know, I was interested in all kinds of things as a child, but to really try to find that being, because that being has been through a lot of life. And for me, I mean, I've gone through this whole life of trying to fit into the culture and create the different masks that we wear to fit into the culture. And I've completely lost touch with this being. But I think that this alignment is suggesting that it's time for us to break out of that and to really pull in that true sense of self, that, you know, what is this purpose that we've all come here for, and to become comfortable in it, because it's new. You know, this breaking free is leading us to something new, and that's going to be uncomfortable. So but staying open and just, you know, being aware and trying to keep ourselves in a place, you know, I guess of curiosity, of just being open, I think is helpful, because so much change is happening.
Mhm.
You know, we were discussing earlier, it's, you know, Neptune is in Pisces, and there's just this flood of everything is dissolving and changing, and now we're beginning to break free from this what was that is coming apart. And we're in a place where we really need to find security in who we are and what our purpose is. And so I think that that's a lot of what this new moon is speaking to. And, you know, it's a growth pattern. We're learning it.
Absolutely, and I think that's perfectly describing the square from the Jupiter, because Jupiter is in
Yes.
Taurus now. Jupiter is direct, and I checked, and during the new moon in Leo, which took place in August, we also had the Jupiter Uranus square in that lunation. However, between then and now, both Jupiter and Uranus were retrograde. Uranus still is retrograde for this full moon. It will station direct 2 days later, but we know what we didn't know in summer. And of course, we know that in our individual life and collectively, a lot of things had taken place between August and now. And for many of us, maybe it shifted our priorities or our outlook on life, our stories, the stories we tell ourselves. So I feel, many of us are really learning for the first time, perhaps, about ourselves, because where the external reality is becoming so decentralized, destabilized by this Uranus energy, Pluto now in Aquarius, ruled by Uranus, and Uranus in Taurus, which has been destabilizing us since 2018, since it's been there. Really, with this opposition, this illumination, it's taking you all the way back. That everything that we've been so fixated on because of the conditioning, the stories, the program, that if all that is removed, who are you? And what did you come here to do? And this is what we really trying to find, what we're trying to see, because this will be your guiding light going forward. The sun is in Aquarius. This is the torch for the Aquarius age. It will be your guiding light.
Absolutely. Definitely. So another thing that I was thinking about and that I wrote about in my moon report was that, for quite a while, a couple of years, the Pluto was squaring the nodes. And that has shifted since Pluto moved into Aquarius. But right on its coattails come in Mars and Venus now squaring the nodes, which is really interesting. And Venus is Mercury, not Venus, sorry. Mercury is in a closing phase.
Venus will square them too.
Oh yeah, it won't be long. But right now it's just Mars and Mercury. And so this is speaking to, closing out the way that we think and communicate, aligning with, the structure that we've been following in the past. And Mars aligning to this like creation of our own structure. So one is closing out, and then of course we'll begin to think differently when Mercury crosses Mars, and we'll begin a new cycle. But
yeah, they're going to have a conjunction on the 27th, literally almost exactly 1 month since their last conjunction, which was at the full moon in Cancer. Again, not lost on me. Full moon in Cancer was the last full moon of 2023, because the version of yourself who you were, you're not going to be the same person 1 year from now. We are all going to change. So Mercury was retrograde at the time because Mercury was reevaluating the stories. And now it's going to have another conjunction with Mars, and it's going to be in Capricorn. And this is giving us the opportunity with this year ruled by Saturn and Capricornian topic going on throughout 2024. I wanted to say 2028 for some reason, 2024, to completely restructure the experience you are having, being a divine being, having a human experience, because it is not set in a stone, like with the Saturn being in Pisces, the reality, just like Adrienne, you said, it's very fluid at the moment. It is not tangible. It is not very strictly defined. Things are becoming kind of more and more nebulous. And in a sense, that is giving us the opportunity to create whatever you want out of it.
Yeah. It's malleable right now.
Exactly.
What reality is it that you want to create? And you just begin doing it. You begin to create it with your thought processes and then with your actions. And we just begin to create our reality, and, guided through this inner place, through the moon, aligning with our true selves and creating this reality. As the other reality falls apart, we'll have a place that we are where we'll feel secure. It's not like we're going to be in the void with, we're working on creating a reality for those of us that are ready to make these changes.
Yeah, I mean, Venus is sextile in Saturn and trine in Jupiter. And Saturn is currently the ruler of Venus, and Venus is the ruler of Jupiter. So we can see a repeating theme going on there, which is about, well, what do you believe about yourself? You have the ability to create, but what do you believe? Because the Jupiter is the one squaring Sun and the Moon, and as it was during the new moon, but now it's on the opposite side. Now it's the first quarter square. It was last quarter square before. So we have the opportunity. We have the opportunity, and it is requires us to be brave because the Mercury Mars are square in the nodes, pointing to the south node. That well, we cannot externalize our power no more. Me and you, we've been talking about it for 6 months already, but now things are really happening. They're really happening. It's illuminated to us.
Yeah, and I think that, all these planets, all the inner planets that have been through the galactic center over the last month have, there's a lot of energy that's been downloaded from the universe. And this idea with beliefs and what you think in the world, it literally is what creates our reality. If you are locked into the beliefs of others, listening to what others are saying, then you are kind of locked into the reality of others. But with Pluto in Aquarius, we're breaking free from that. We literally have the opportunity to draw within to ourselves and to shift our belief system. What is it that we believe to be true? How do we want to align our thoughts so that we can create the best reality for ourselves and literally trust ourselves? Trust that we have value. I mean, we're here on this earthly plane right now. We have value, outside of whatever anybody has said to us, or, what our cultures think about us, or whatever it is, we have value. And the opening, it's like this opening that's happening as we begin to break free, literally is there for us to shift what we think about our value and about what the truth is about how we survive on this planet. And then again, also what we think, and then to create that reality through creating our own boundaries, through, doing self-care for ourselves, really taking care of our own being. And what we ever do on the inside for ourselves begins to take form on the outside of ourselves. And so literally we have the opportunity to change reality, which is amazing.
Yeah, and with the moon being in a Leo, I again take it back to the child, to the child who were, and actually it's interesting because I said it, I don't know if it was in my reading today or yesterday, because the time is so not linear in my reality. That's exactly what I said to my client. I said, well, who were you before everybody put their little 2 cents in and told you who you should be? Who were you all the way back? And we even remember, just like you said, that you disconnected from her. And yeah, now when it's so interesting because it is both, we are living in a time that, yes, it makes us feel scared and insecure and we don't know where it's going and all that. But like we've been saying for many months now, how many people are really happy with the reality they've been experiencing that has been created by someone else? Well, we co-created it, but subconsciously, because we didn't understand what was going on. We didn't understand by watching news and getting scared based on the imagery that we are being introduced to, that we are helping to create it because we are not being taught, right? But now with this Jupiter being in Taurus, ruled by Venus making trine to its sextile to Saturn, and Venus being in the sign of Capricorn, the sign of self-mastery. Venus gone through hell. She's gone through Scorpio. She's gone through, Sagittarius, all of it. So she's now almost at the end of it, almost in Aquarius. And she's in Capricorn. So she's saying, okay, well, how are we going to master this story of our life? Well, we need to create what we want to be experiencing consciously. I think it's all about, because this illumination, this full moon, is all about becoming conscious. Something is becoming illuminated to us. And is it with regards to this Leo? What is this purpose? Why are we here? Are we here just to go to work every day and pay bills and stuff? And I know many people say, well, we have no choice. This is what it is. This is what everybody is doing. But is it true? Or is it just because we all bought into the same story? So we all doing that. So we have each other as an example, and therefore nobody question it. But now Mercury and Mars are squaring the node, pointing to the south node, and Venus is in Capricorn. So it's saying, well, it's time for you to decide, well, what do you want? The Venus, like your values, your needs. And also, just like you said, well, what you worth? What do you think you deserve? Do you believe that you deserve better? Because yes, there's no one more important than you in your life, and nobody is more important than anybody else. And, you know, from when we go back to the source, like we all came from the same place, we all return back to the same place. You know, like there is no difference when the baby comes out of woman's womb. There's no difference. It's all the same, right? Like yes, you know, like
Right.
you're born into families and heritage and all that, but in essence, is a being brought to the world the same way, and we all exist the same way. The details will be different. So in essence, there is no difference. Nobody is more important than someone else. Nobody's purpose is more important than someone else. It's just unique to you. And this is where I feel that we have the opportunity to redefine all that with this full moon in Leo. That what is your purpose? What did you come here to do? And why do you think that your purpose being a chef is something less than somebody being a lawyer? But if it wasn't for you, the lawyer would die of hunger. How will he do his work? You know, so nobody is more important than anybody else. It's just what do you want it to be? You know, that purpose that you
Yes,
want to be doing.
exactly. It is, and it goes back to what I'm saying. What do you believe? What do
Yeah,
you believe for it to be true? And then how can you align your thoughts with your beliefs? And to help create that reality. You know, Mars is going to be in Capricorn for a little bit longer. We literally have the ability to create our reality, begin that cycle. So I think that that's, and then, you know, Mars is in the exact square to Chiron. This is, this is the healing, the ability to create our boundaries. You know, this is through setting personal boundaries. This is through, yeah, creating our reality through through our belief systems as well. But to, you know, label our boundaries. What is it that we want out of life? What direction do we want to move? And to begin to place that structure in our life. And that leads us to this, you know, this is a third quarter square with Chiron and Mars. And so this requires us to literally separate from the norm, what they've said that we have to do in this reality, and really believe in something that's completely different, something that comes from our own beliefs that really will help us move in the direction of Chiron and the North Node.
absolutely. And yeah, it's really interesting this square because we'll have one more lunation. It will be the new moon in Aquarius before the Chiron North Node conjunction. Because Virgo full moon 1 month from now, it will be already past the Chiron North Node conjunction. So this again is fascinating to me because of course the next new moon is new moon in Aquarius. So again, Aquarius, and we have now at this full moon in Leo, we have Mars squaring Chiron. And like you said, this is the last quarter square. So it's time to break ourselves free from the restrictions of the old definitions. And again,
The old definitions.
this doesn't mean that it's all bad, that it's all rotten. We always need some kind of structure, but how about to make it the structure that has a meaning for you? Because again, when we look at how this reality is set up, it works for few% of people, and everybody else just has to kind of comply and go on with it. But does it make you happy? Does it work for you? Do you have your needs met? Do you feel free? Do you feel self-actualized? Do you feel seen for who you are? Because the programming gets on so early on before you even go to school, where they say, well, this is what is expected to you, this is how you have to act in order to belong. But now with this Aquarius is the other way around. It's say no, you'll be true to yourself,
Yeah.
and then you will belong exactly where you're meant to belong, not belong to the places. And you know, our teacher Simon, he loves using that example about polar bear in Africa, right? Well, maybe
All
you are a
right.
polar bear and you're trying to fit in Africa, or maybe you are a leon trying to fit in Antarctica. Who knows? But that's the thing. You be true to yourself. You be you. You be the Leo, the Leon King, and then you find your people. You know, you find your people. We're not meant to.
Absolutely.
This is the thing, and this is what I feel where we're trying to redefine the, you know, the relational paradigm. Where, as we know, this is completely shifting how relationships are going to look in the future. They're already looking different, but it's going to be even more so. Any relationship, not just romantic, any relationship between, you know, beings, And it's this win-win situation that we're trying to achieve. And also this opportunity that, well, it doesn't mean we all have to agree on everything. It's like, I respect you, like you can have different opinion and value different thing from me, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna go and kill you for it. Like, I respect you being yourself. Doesn't mean we have to be best friends. Like, I mean, not you personally, because we are friends and we agree on many things, but you know what I
Right.
mean. We were being
Yes.
conditioned and brought up in the belief that what I believe is right, what you believe is wrong, and that's why you are my enemy. But Sagittarius is a mutable energy.
Yes.
Everybody's got their own truth. There are very few things that are universal truth. So I feel all this relational paradigm is also, Venus ruling Jupiter. It impacted this story we tell ourselves. So it's about mutual respect, compassion, also healthy boundaries. But there isn't really right and wrong that is universal for everyone. I mean, there are a few things, right? But like when it comes to this belief system and stories, so I think this again will play a big role with regards to how we're going to create more conscious relationships. Because yes, not everything is acceptable, but just because somebody believes something different from me doesn't make them a bad person. It just makes like, well, maybe we are not in resonance, and it's okay, live and let live, namaste. And that's why I feel, especially because it is the full moon in Leo, and Leo is the heart, and it's about the seen. Leo wants to be seen and validated, right? It's about like, well, how can we see one
Yes.
another, the uniqueness and the authenticity in the other person, and somehow still, be able to live on the same planet without harm being done.
Yep. And then also that, Leo moon is having that yod configuration with Venus and the exact in conjunct with Saturn. And so this is pointing out that there's adjustments that we have to make to begin to be able to, become comfortable within our true selves. We have to create the boundaries. We have to respect ourselves, one. We have to engage in self-care and creating the boundaries that we need and the reality that we need to survive in our best way. And that's going to take adjustments because that generally means that it's going to affect the way we've related with people, with our other relationships. If we're going to be making changes, people are used to us in one way or another. And to be able to shift, that can cause, some disruptions in our relationships. And so, I mean, communication for sure is the key, but it's a blind spot. We won't see that this need to define how we, well, how do I say it? So how we would define our own value is linked to that true essence that we're literally just trying to find. Like I said, most of us have been masking to fit into the culture. And if you can remember what it's like, I mean, I'm old enough that my childhood is just, yeah, I remember just little bits. But that to try to recover what that is quite difficult. But part of the key is to, set boundaries or redefine our self-worth as it is right now. And then the other side, this would be the Scorpio side, the outer adjustments that we would make have to do with literally creating our own reality. And because what's happening is with no boundary, with the boundaries dissolving, Neptune in Pisces, now we have this ability to come in and create structure upon what is dissolving. And I think those energies are very similar, but we really need to create our own reality. And in order to be able to come to our true selves, it's almost like you can't really see what those things are, but as we create the structure for ourselves, we will begin to feel they're connected, we just can't see it, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I understand, and I actually I got a download about it. I think why we can't see it is because of the square to the node by Mars and Mercury, which is we try to make it too logical. You know, we try to figure things out with our head, and our brain is conditioned by the program because our ego only knows what it knows. So I feel because also with the the precipice, the yacht pointing to the moon is saying we need to start opening our heart. But the way we're going to do it, because Sun is in Aquarius and Uranus in Taurus and Venus in Capricorn, sextile in Saturn, Saturn sextile in Jupiter. You know, we just can hop from planet to planet and then we go back to Venus. So what we really need to do is heal the inner child, because there is a trauma that is making us feel separate. And that is what is this opposition, you know, this like the childlike innocence and also the big world out there, the networks and the groups of people we want to belong to. And you know, like we either go in one direction or another. You know, some people like completely like disconnect, because they're trying to protect. Why? Because it's a trauma response, right? So with the Uranus and Jupiter coming into conjunction in April in Taurus, right after the eclipses, I think a lot of these stories that are coming up for us, a lot of these triggers, a lot of these things, also people playing the roles they play in a collective, the lower vibrational role, they are bringing all these traumas, all these woundings out for us, so we can actually heal those, so we can reconnect back to our heart. Because, and I can say also from my personal experience, and most people have been traumatized because that's how it's designed, we disconnect and then we feel separate, we feel alone, we feel like this Aquarius, I'm an alien, I don't belong anywhere. But is that true? The Jupiter is challenging that it's Aquarius. Is that truth? Well, actually, I'm telling you, with the sextile to Saturn and Saturn ruled by Neptune in Pisces in his rulership, you all came from the source. You all are connected. That's why you can feel it so strongly. So I feel that the whole thing, with the obviously square to the node, but resolution south node, but north node, Mars being the ruler of the north node, we need to actually heal that disconnection so we can open our heart. Again, strong boundaries, doesn't mean that everything is acceptable, doesn't mean that I'm not going to protect myself if you come chasing after me just because, whatever. But at the same time, and this is what you and I were talking about, we need to start looking at life from multidimensional perspective, because this is what Pluto is going to start inviting us to do. That there are so many layers to this, but the core to that is we need to start integrating, communicating not just from our head, which is the ego, the program that makes us believe we are disconnected, but through our heart, because this is the connection. This is what's going to connect us. Again, doesn't mean everybody's going to be your best friend, but again, namaste, I see you, you are a divine being, even if you do atrocious things in the world. That doesn't mean I'm going to let you do that to me, or I'm not going to set a boundary, but I understand the higher perspective, Jupiter, what is the truth here? But there is a bigger, higher perspective. Jupiter is the traditional ruler of Pisces. There is a bigger perspective. There is something bigger happening here, not just the thing we can see on a surface level. And and I think this is, like another hidden layer of this, because of the in conjunction with the moon in Leo, that we need to reconnect with our heart. And then when we listen to the heart, it might give us a very different answers from what our brain is saying.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% that the connection is with the heart. And perhaps that's the link with the closing phase with Mercury, that we're letting go of that mind connection to our reality and beginning to feel with the heart. Where is it that we want to go? Where is it that we feel the joy? And begin and head in that direction as the clue as to what direction we should head as we're moving forward. Is it joyous? Is it true, for you? Because what's true for you isn't going to necessarily be true for somebody else. Yet we can still head in that direction, because we're all different. We're all going to have a different direction to head, and that's okay. It's a big move away from the societal norm that says, oh, no, you either have to be the teacher, the doctor, the lawyer, you know, the guy that works at the grocery store or the gas station, or, you know, these slots that we're forced to go into instead of choosing from within the direction, you know, perhaps melding two different things together and creating something that hasn't even, you know, depending on whatever your joy is, what your purpose is. So.
And I'm also tapping into the Virgo here. I think maybe it is the in conjunction, you know, from the Virgo side, um, which is about this. Don't beat yourself up about it, you know, because it's not about perfection. Because, like, you know, we were saying that in many cases we stop ourselves from following our purpose, from doing that joyous things, because we talk ourselves out of it. Oh, it's stupid. I don't know enough. I don't, you know, I am not the expert and stuff. But I feel with this, you know, Pluto in Aquarius, and also especially once Uranus will move into Gemini, well, we are not here to be experts, because that again creates hierarchical system which say, like, well, this person is the expert, they know everything. I think it's going to be more and more like, well, because even I can observe it in my clients, I'm sure you can observe it in yourself and in your reality, that people are starting to open up to multiple facets of their soul. Like, okay, I enjoy this, but I enjoy that, I enjoy that, I enjoy that. And then we beat ourselves up about it because, well, you cannot do everything perfect. You cannot go, you know, 10 miles deep into the rabbit hole, but you know what you need to know. And then the rest you just download when you need it, right? So I feel
Yes.
somehow I'm tapping into this Virgo here as well, somewhere hidden, that is saying that, well, Aquarius age is not about perfection. You know, it's just about, well, you came here to have an experience, okay, you know, and just make the most out of it in your own authentic way by listening to your heart. Yeah, there still has to be a balance, you know, it has to kind of make some kind of sense, but don't let your brain to talk you out of what your heart is, you know, telling you, because
Yes.
your heart knows you better than your brain, because the brain is deeply conditioned by the program and it's to keep you safe and protected. But is it a trauma response, or is it something that you genuinely don't want to do? And that's when your heart might give you a different answer.
Yes. And that's a very good point. Yeah. So, yeah. I think that a lot of it has to do with what it is that we believe. You know, like I said earlier, all the inner planets have gotten the download. We all have sort of information that's come in pretty recently about, you know, ideas and beliefs that have begun to shift within us. And those beliefs are affecting this new moon, this full moon right now. You know, Jupiter is square to both the sun and the moon. And so while Jupiter's in a new phase to the sun, the moon is in the new phase to Jupiter. And so we're beginning this, we're having to work through these tensions of being able to trust in ourselves and to believe in ourselves. But it's what's required really to get to the heart in both cases. You know, the sun is also the heart. And it's asking us to break free so that we can really find some kind of security, some comfortability in being our true selves instead of feeling awkward and, you know, like maybe I've done something wrong, or I feel like a lot of that self-talk that many of us carry is because somebody else has said it to us and we've internalized it. And now it's the time to break free from that and really begin to trust in ourselves and come from the heart. You know, it's time to make different choices under the same situations to make change in the world. We can't just continue to do it the same way. So
Exactly. And that's, you know, as Uranus is the ruler of the sun and sun is the ruler of the moon, That's exactly what it is, you know, that we become consciously aware of our triggers because they are showing us where we are disconnected, you know. And that's what I was tapping into with regards to we need to heal the trauma because that is what is preventing us from reconnecting to reaching the,
Yeah.
you know, the heart. So, you know, with the sun being the rule of the moon, sun being ruled by Uranus and Uranus being ruled by Venus, and like you said, Venus just recently conjuncted um, the center, galactic center, right?
The galactic center, yeah.
Exactly. And Venus is connected with Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius. It is we do have the opportunity to completely redefine the story by becoming aware of the story. What is the story? Where did it come from? Like you said, question it. Where did you hear that? Is it actually something you believe, or did we just, you know? Because I can observe myself sometimes, or observe my siblings how they automatically repeat what my parents used to tell us, which is limit,
Yeah.
you know, in many cases, you know, with the best possible intentions because they heard it from their parents, but it's actually casting spells, limiting spells. And is that what I want to keep re-experiencing, or what is it? So with this Jupiterian square, it's saying that, well, it's time to potentially adjust how we speak to ourselves, you know, how we communicate and how we perceive in all of this, and what do we believe with regards to what we are experiencing. And then we have the opportunity to transform that energy because Uranus is a transformer, Pluto is the transmuter, and then of course Neptune just dissolves it all. It's the transcender. So yeah, so we have all this available to us. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, like you said, it's not gonna be easy. There are squares. It creates challenge. It creates the pressure, but this is what is in the way of, you know, this
Yep.
authenticity, individuation, and following your purpose.
Yep. These squares are, the purpose of the square is to create growth.
Mhm.
They, they are the tension. You're not growing so much with the trines.
So
That's the easy slide, but it's growth, really moving from one energy to another energy that is creating the growth within us. And so, yes, while there are squares in this chart, they are definitely pointing to a growth and a change. And that's what has to happen for us to break free. We're going to have to grow beyond what we've known.
mhm.
We have to grow beyond this. This is evolution. We have to grow beyond what is known in order to move the times forward.
And it is because of the pattern, because the pattern for past at least 2,000 years, for sure more,
Yeah.
many millennia, the pattern was to externalize the power. This was the
Yes.
conditioning. So that's why it comes so with such a great difficulties and so much insecurities because we, like, you know, for many past lifetimes and all the ancestral experience we inherited, all the imprint of the collective experience, all of that, uh, this is the familiar. The familiar is like, oh well, but what will the other people say? What is everybody else doing? Let me check what is everybody else doing. You know, you can see when you
Right.
go anywhere and people start copying each other. If everybody stand up, everybody stands up. Everybody starts clapping, everybody starts clapping. You know, people don't question.
Yeah.
And now we are coming to the times where this pattern is breaking, but it's not easy. And again, there might be the tendency for us to judge ourselves for that. That, oh my God, I've done it again. Well, if you've done it again, celebrate, right? This is what Lee Harris says. You know, this is what he channels from the Zen.
Yeah.
He says, when you catch yourself, celebrate because you just became conscious on something, and once you are aware, you can change it. And this is
Yes.
what this Aquarian energy is saying. You're getting triggered, so you become conscious, and when you become conscious, you can change it.
Yes. And the old paradigm is to blame somebody else for the triggers that are inside of you, but to realize that they're inside of you for a reason. They are a trigger. If something's bothering you, it's not in the other person, it's in you. And to begin to look at what that might be, you know, and sit and meditate on it, discover what it is. And as these triggers become aware, as we become aware of them, then we can begin to make changes around them, away from them,
Yeah, because
which
all
is
these
growth.
people, all these people are just playing roles you assign to them as a spirit. We all
Yeah.
agreed to these roles. So this is where we starting to hold a multidimensional lens. That okay, you
Yes.
triggered the hell out of me. Now let me investigate why am I getting triggered. And well, thank you very much for being the teacher. And then once I learn this, maybe we
Yeah.
don't need to speak or whatever it is. But to start seeing these things from the point of the soul as well. That okay, what did I come here to learn? What is actually this? Because Jupiter is a teacher. What did I come here to learn about myself? Because this is,
Yes.
just as you say, you being triggered is telling you something about you, like the other person is just pulling the trigger, but the trigger is inside of you. So
Yes.
the Jupiter really plays a very profound role because being the ruler of the galactic center, just like you said, well, and there was again no coincidence that the last new moon of 2023 was the new moon in Sagittarius, and actually I believe it was on 20 degrees, so it would have conjuncted within the orb of the galactic center, which is saying that, well, we are heading in a very new direction and going to be exploring some uncharted territories, some galactic territories over there. And for that, we need to kind of change the storyline over here.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's all very interesting and exciting. It says my computer is unstable, so I might freeze again. But well, hopefully not. We've made it through pretty far without having me drop off.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for that. This is Mexico, guys. Nothing is for granted here.
Right? It's the technology.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like this full moon is really important and definitely one that will cause us to internalize, who we are and who we want to become, even more than that. And this has to do with changing the way that we think and what we believe and creating new boundaries for ourselves, definitely tapping into what's coming in from the heart, feeling what it is that's coming in from the heart, and, using the trauma and the triggers that we have to help us to grow instead of blaming somebody outside of ourselves. I think those are the most important things. Trying to look and see what else I wrote about. Yeah, but yeah, we are moving into this phase where we are, like you said, it's like the multiple different realities that are happening, and we literally are at a time when we get to choose what reality we want to live in. And we start by doing this within ourselves. Finding out where we find our joy and what our purpose is, and just doing it, no matter what anybody else thinks. We have to do our purpose. We're not fitting into the old role slots anymore. Those are dissolving. It's time to step into self-created role slots. What is it that we want to do? And surprisingly enough, I believe that with the amount of people that are on the planet, if everybody chooses their role slots from how they were vibrating, how their intentions are, that all the necessary positions will be filled, and not from the outside, but from the inside, individually. I've been thinking that for a long time, that, we have this control from the outside. And I also think, that a lot of this outer control is set into place because we aren't the one that's reaping the benefit.
Of
But
course not.
when we switch to the inside, the earth and the planet and the people will get what they need, but everybody will reap the benefit. And I think that's the shift.
Yeah, and it will take some time to switch
Oh,
because
it's going to take
the
some
ones
time.
reaping the benefits are not going to let it go easily. So this is where we
Yeah,
start small. We start from ourselves the people close to you, and then it will grow these pockets. But I really feel once people, and this is literally what this year is about, the strength. We build in the strength, we build in the resiliency, we build in the self-trust, and to choose yourself no matter what. Like, no, I
Yes,
choose me. I choose me. No, I don't mean it in an egocentrical, arrogant way. I mean, what you're worth, and you're gonna choose you, no matter what, no matter what. And this is where people say I have no choice. There's always a choice. It's not always easy one, but there always is a choice.
yes,
And like, this is, and again, I'm not saying don't follow me or follow me. I'm not saying don't live your life your way, but I don't compromise on these things. I say, like, well, I'd rather be dead. I will not be a slave. So I'm like, I'm making a choice. If I cannot live my life the way that is in alignment with my truth, with my needs and values, and how I value myself, I'd rather not be here. I have no attachment to that, which again, of course, is a strong statement to make. And I'm not saying that this is how everybody should be operating, but I always choose what I feel is the right thing for me. So,
yeah,
and I think when people get to the level when they know themselves so well, and they're not willing to compromise, they set the boundaries, they send in a message to the universe that I am the creator of my reality universe, and this is what I am open to receiving, and I am not compromising on that. And then we actually will stop attracting situations that had to teach us to actually become that, to
yes,
become worthy and become that. And this is what people are afraid. They're afraid, like, well, but if, what if that will not happen? Well, then we just keep attracting people that will just show us that, that it will not happen, because we need to take our power back. But actually, from my personal experience, when I decided that I am not compromising on this, this is a strong boundary because this is what I know I deserve, somehow things always fall into place. Universe go, okay, well, let me help you to co-create it, because you are the creator of your reality. And it takes courage, it takes
takes
responsibility.
courage.
And that's the Mars in Capricorn.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And we're all in different places in this journey, you know. I am just now, here in this last year or so, stepping into my own ability to do what it is that I want to do. And it's an interesting process. But it doesn't really matter where you start, start
No,
today, start tomorrow, um, things in our, I feel like the universe is conspiring to do it help us to do it. So we may experience situations, very often when we're dealing with Uranus and Aquarius, shocking shifts can happen very rapidly, particularly if, you are designed to be doing something completely different. The universe will help you to get there. And
absolutely.
that's not always so fun.
Yeah, and this is where, the saying, men's rejection, God protection, which we don't always like because we want what we want and sometimes we don't get it. And yeah, this is where, the higher power, our higher self sometimes interferes and says, like, well, maybe not the way to go. But
Yeah,
it's again about the trust, trusting that, well, there is a reason for everything and nothing is ever
yes,
happening by accident, which again might not be everybody's belief. It definitely is mine. And yeah, I feel that through life and through living life, we that's the only way to really learn to trust yourself, because that's why
yeah,
universe tests us. Because how would you know what you can survive if you wouldn't be tested? You wouldn't know how much strength is within you. And yeah, with these squares, we will be tested. We will be tested, and because otherwise the soul would, like, if you play a game or watch a video or movie that is easy and there's nothing going on there, you go like, this was so boring. There was no growth going on in there. We all want to be the heroes
yeah,
of our stories. So this is why these things are not always easy, but they give us the, like you said, biggest opportunity for growth.
yeah, yeah. And, growth is evolution. That's why we're all here.
Yeah.
Humanity has been evolving for quite a while. We're continuing on that journey. And we're in a place where we're done evolving in the way that we have, and it's time to move to the next step. And that's what we're experiencing.
Yep.
And it can seem scary, you know, it can seem scary. I'm not gonna say that it's not, but there's a trust that will develop in yourself. Can you, you know, take care of your needs? Have you built the resiliency to get your needs met? And or even to align with other people that can help you to meet your needs. You know, this is also part of the Aquarian energy. As you begin to vibrate in the frequency that is yours, those people that will come and help you along the way will be drawn to you, and you to them. So it's very interesting times, I have to say.
And that is literally what what you just described is literally is the conscious relationship. It's the co-creation and it's the giving and receiving. I'm open to receiving and I'm also here for you, but I'm not losing anything and you're not losing anything because we are being ourselves. And this is how it's going to be, not us ourselves trying to fit into somewhere where we maybe weren't ever happy anyway. So
Right.
now you're just going to find yourself, and that's why it all happens from inside out. You need to find yourself first, because then you're
Yes.
going to be attracting people who see you for who you are. And that's also with this moon in Leo. Who are you? Do you see yourself for who you are? Because that's how
Yep.
other people gonna see you. They
Yes.
only see what you project out there into the universe. So this is why it's such an internal process, and this is why it's not gonna be easy, because we were being conditioned to look outside of us. So now, and this is what I've been saying all along. We're living in an inverted reality. Everything is upside down. So we just need to flip it upside down again, and then you come closer to the truth.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. But that's the shift. This is Aquarius. What we got to find our own frequencies and then live it.
Yeah, break yourself free. Break yourself free from the outdated pattern, whatever that is. And that's the thing. Most people know, they feel when something is not in alignment, whether it's a job, relationship, whatever. But we push ourselves through it, and then we surprised why we don't have no energy to be alive.
Yeah.
Like, I have no energy at the end of the day. Why? Well, because maybe I spend the whole day doing something I didn't. I'm not saying that my story actually, that is not my story, but I know for many people that is the case, and then they feel like bone tired to even go for a walk or something. And I'm like, well, that's your body, your soul clearly telling you that something is not right, because this is not how we came here to experience life. And yeah, and it's up to us to change that. And now, this year will be a great opportunity, because universe will push the buttons. It will say, okay, what you gonna do? What you gonna choose? Are you still with me, Adrienne?
I just came back.
You froze for a bit.
I missed what you said last, but
I just
that's
said that
okay.
universe is going to test us. It's gonna give us. It's gonna push our buttons and give us an opportunity to choose.
Oh, yes. Yes. Hence all those squares.
Yeah, like I always say, by the summertime we'll have much more clarity with the two full moons in Capricorn, new moon in Cancer, and new moon in Leo on each side of it. We'll have
Oh,
much more clarity with regards to what we're dealing with this year.
I think so. Yeah, I think this is a very important year for outlining who we are to become when
Absolutely.
Pluto moves into Aquarius permanently. Because Pluto will move back into Capricorn, I think just to the 29-degree mark in October or September.
September 1st until November 19th, but I don't know to which
Yeah.
point in 29 degrees and some minutes retrograde, but
Yeah, I don't think it's going to 28.
it's gonna
It
be
will
no,
go.
it's gonna stay on 29 degrees. Literally will be still on the 29, but I don't know
Yeah,
how far minute wise, but it's just gonna be operating there on the last degree
yeah.
for 2.5 months just for the eclipses. And yeah, and then that's it. From
And
November
that's it.
onwards, it's Pluto in Aquarius until 2043, 44. So
Yeah.
that will be a very different energy, and this is the This is the year where we, like you said, sucking into the outline, like getting the feel of it. What is this going to represent? And just, just like we've been saying, the old story, the old script, it lost meaning. Saturn is in Pisces. So we really, as a human collective, the source decided, okay, I had enough experience of, you like living life through you being, the good citizens, externalizing power and stuff like that. It served its purpose, like we did it for long enough. But now universe with the, all these energies in action at the moment, it's like, okay, well, we had enough of that now. So we're going to move in a different direction. And it is a very different experience for human collective, which is why so many souls are exiting right now, because not everybody wants to be part of this transition. They want to come back when it's like maybe, on the other side of it or something. So that's also what I've been saying. You really need to want to be here. You really need to build that strength and desire and the fire and the passion for life, because it is not going to be easy. It's going to be worth it. You might not see the tree grow to the full, I just like our ancestors. They didn't see the tree to their full capacity or the bridge and, build and all that. They did it for the next generation. And that's what we are doing right now. We start in the foundation of it. We might not see the final effect of it, but at the end of the day, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. But we really need to trust ourselves and have the strength and resiliency within to do that, because it's not going to be easy. But how you're going to be experiencing that is up to you, because you're creating the experience. So this is where we really need to start embracing who we really are.
Yes. Yes, I agree. And that's the point, I believe, of this whole year even. Just definitely through all periods of Capricorn coming through, creating our realities, creating our boundaries, really restructuring ourselves for this next move into Aquarius. We'll have to be different. We will be different. And this year is going to do a lot of change for each of us. We'll experience a lot of change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But on the other side of it is the ultimate freedom. The freedom for you to be exactly who you were meant to be, without
Oh,
the
yeah.
restriction of someone else telling you. So this is what we're fighting for. This is what our ancestors fought for, the freedom, for us to have the freedom. And now we're fighting for the next level, next level of freedom. So
Yeah.
it is in a sense, it is a spiritual war of consciousness, whatever we want to call it, but we are fighting for our freedom on every level, or our multidimensional freedom. And the war has to be won within you first.
Oh, yeah, for sure. What is it that you want? What is it that you need? And how are you going to go about getting it? And believe that you can.
Mhm.
I think that's the key. If you believe it,
You can
you can
manifest it.
create it. Mhm.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
we gone very deep, deeper than the Scorpio.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it looked like a scorpion, this chart.
It proved you right. It's how did you know?
Yeah, I managed to stay on. They didn't kick me completely off.
Yeah, yeah. I guess universe made sure that this will be heard.
Yeah, and I'm thankful for it. I'm gonna
Thank
go
you.
ahead and stop the share, okay?
Yes,
And here we are,
here we are back in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
back in Puerto Vallarta, and the sun is still shining.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Adrienne, for finding time during your vacation to do this.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to always do this report with you. I think it's good times. It helps me to align my thoughts and ideas with somebody that resonates in a very similar way. And yeah, and I think it's a good thing for people to hear. So
It just gives a different perspective. It gives opportunity to stretch brains a little bit.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. And yeah, I'll be here for one more week, and then a week after that, we'll be meeting again, but I'll be back in Tennessee
Yeah, you'll be back in a different climate.
in a different climate, is for sure. Is for sure. I'm glad
Excellent.
it's not freezing in Tennessee anymore.
Yeah, well, you never know what's going to be happening in 1 week, 2 weeks time.
Oh,
We
that's
live in the
true.
times where things are unpredictable. So yeah.
That is true. It'll be planting season. I'll be planting.
Well, Adrienne, as always, tell people where to find you. What are the updates you want to share?
Yeah, you can find me, I've got, my Jaskiran Astrology on Facebook. I have a Substack account where I post my new moon reports every 2 weeks. You can find me there. And you can reach me at heartplace@peoplepc.com. That's my email address. If you're looking for a reading or anything like that, advice, reach out to me. I generally check my emails daily, so
Cool. And actually, Adrienne is on Instagram as well, for those who are on Instagram only.
that's true.
So I put all
I
the,
haven't yet moved into that part of my social media gig, but I think those kinds of things are gonna be happening for me in this Pluto and Aquarius journey here.
absolutely, but I will share all the links below so you can reach out to
Thank you.
Adrienne to connect. And yeah, and if you want to connect with me, you can find me on my social media and also on my website, moonlightsoul369.com. Well, thank you
Um,
very much, everyone, for listening. If you're still with us, thank you, Adrienne, for
yeah,
holding on.
yeah, right. Thank
And
you.
we'll see you again next time for the new moon in Aquarius.
Whew.